based on what transpired in chapter 66, it appears that Kawaki did in fact kill Boruto. Now I know a lot of people are aware of the fact that Boruto is in fact still alive in the time skip era of Boruto the series. Yes, Boruto is still alive, so Boruto is not dead yet. Now the most obvious theory people are going to lead with is that he's going to use some ability of the Jougan. So yes, Boruto is going to awaken the Jougan in the upcoming chapter and save himself somehow. Now I made a video talking about the Sage Mode aspect of it and Naruto using the revival charm, which I think is a really good theory, but we can still entertain other theories as well, and that's what we're going to do today. So today we're going to talk about the prospects of Boruto using the Jougan to basically resurrect himself. So yeah, let's get into it. So one thing we know about the Jougan is that it somewhat relates to the evil eye Kagemasa spoke about in the early episodes of Boruto. So as we know, Boruto is somewhat influenced off the story of Kagemasa. And one thing we know about Kagemasa is that he has an evil eye that he used to fake his death. So this is somewhat relating to Boruto's story here because Boruto is somewhat dead in this scenario. So how will Boruto survive? And we know that he will survive. So the theory that's going around is that Boruto will fake his death using the ability of the Jougan, similar to what Kagemasa did with his evil eye, and I think that theory is completely plausible. But I think the real question is, how will he do that? What does that entail, right? My theory is that it will be somewhat similar to the situation with Madara and Izanagi. So a couple hundred years ago, Hashirama and Madara faced off in the final valley, and Madara faked his death using Izanagi. So one thing we know about Izanagi is that it lasts for about a minute when you have the proper requirements to use in the jutsu. So Izanagi basically rewrites reality to whatever the user wants it to be. So Madara faked his death using the Izanagi ability in conjunction with a time delay by pre-programming the ability to awaken days later, because Madara wanted to trick them into thinking that he was in fact dead. So if he had used Izanagi in the same moment, then he would have revived on the spot using Izanagi, so everyone would have known that he was still alive. But because he wanted to fool them into thinking that he was in fact dead, he implied a time delay spell by pre-programming the ability to awaken days later. So Madara did in fact die and stayed dead for days, and Tobirama placed him under this mountain and ran research on his body, and Madara, anticipating this, placed that time delay spell to awaken or to activate Izanagi days after he had died, and revived him under that mountain. Then he used a shadow clone to substitute for his dead body, thus tricking them into thinking that he was actually still dead, while Madara, the real Madara, moved underground and planned for whatever happened in the Naruto series going forward. So Madara was pretty smart in his tactics in using the Izanagi ability to his benefit. So that's why I think that something similar will happen with Boruto, because if Boruto is actually going to fake his death, if he wants him to think that he's dead, then he can't just revive himself using the Jougan. Like, he has to legit make them think that he's in fact dead. They have to bury a body or something, or his body has to disintegrate or something, right? So I think that the Jougan will somehow create a lifelike version of a shadow clone, like a shadow clone doppelganger of Boruto with a lifelike version with blood, everything, and trick them into thinking that it is in fact the same Boruto, right? That's the only way I think he's going to fake his death. Or if the Jougan will completely erase his body out of existence and he's just gonna teleport somewhere else, right? That's the only way I see this working, because if he just gets up, resurrects, and then disappears, I think they'll have an understanding that Boruto might still be out there. So the only way people get closure and to think that Boruto is actually dead is if he used some shadow clone and everyone gets to see the body of Boruto, or if the body somehow gets disintegrated or something, right? That's the only way I think he's going to fake his death. Now if he's not going to fake his death and he's just going to come back, then the Jougan can just revive him and then he'll just be fine. But if the theory about him faking his death and going rogue or just leaving the village to protect everyone is plausible, then he has to trick them into actually thinking that he died, and there has to be proof that he died. You get me? So that's why I think that he's gonna do something similar to what Madara did to trick everyone into thinking that he's dead. That's the only way I see this working. But then again, he's using the Jougan, right? And the Jougan should be the pure eye, the most powerful eye in the verse, so it should have some overpowered genjutsu. So the only other way I see him like tricking everyone into thinking that he died is if he like casts this genjutsu over everyone on the battlefield. Now it could be a case where he only casts this genjutsu on Naruto and Kawaki, or maybe just Naruto, and Kawaki knows that he's still alive and the villains know that he's still alive, but like the villagers and Naruto thinks that he died, and he just goes rogue with Kawaki and Code, probably. So it could be a case where that happens, or it could be a case where he just casts it on everybody, including Code and Kawaki, so everyone thinks that he dies and he just leaves the village, right? And it could be a case where Naruto just takes care of Code right there, and Boruto thinks that they'll be fine since the villain is taken care of, Kawaki's there and such, and everyone thinks that he died. He's just gonna leave with Sasuke, maybe, or he leaves by himself. It's possible, right? So I think like the Jougan could have this overpowered genjutsu ability that will just trick them. Like Koda Matsukami, like that, it brings that to mind. That's Shishui's ability. Maybe, I don't know, but there are a lot of things that we could go through and say that the Jougan is capable of, but again, these are just like theories and such because we know nothing about the Jougan. So I don't know, it's plausible, that's all I can say. And another way he could do it, I will say, is that this is kind of simple. It's kind of simple but kind of weird at the same time. He could like stay the same way, and as I mentioned earlier, like similar to what Madara did, he'll just awaken like days later after they've already buried him. Now one thing we know about our world is that, you know, they bomb your body or whatever, they put liquid in you so you can, you know, keep fresh before they bury the body and all that jazz, and drain you of your blood and stuff you up and gore, right? But in the Naruto universe, I don't think they do all of that shit, right? They just bury your body exactly how it is, like maybe put you in a black gown or something probably, and they bury you the next day. So I don't know, I think he could get away with it. Like he's just gonna stay dead, pretend like he's dead, and then days later, or he's gonna actually be dead, and then days later, like the Jougan just revives him while he's in his casket underground, right? That could happen. And then he just teleports, instead of just bursting through the ground and letting everybody know that, oh, Boruto is awakened, he just like uses the teleportation ability and teleports from the casket underground and leaves the village, right? That could be possible. Like I'm just thinking about it and seeing that that's also an option, and it might even be more plausible than the shadow clone theory, right? He just remains dead in the casket until everybody is okay, and then he just revives somehow. Like something must be a trigger, but yeah, I think it's plausible. It's definitely plausible. So yeah, I don't know, but those are just my thoughts, right? If you guys disagree, you can tell me why in the comment section. If you like the video, drop a like. If you have any theories relating to this theory, then you can go ahead and add to it. I think there's a lot of things that could be added to it to pad it up to make it make more sense. I'm not thinking clearly right now because I'm tired, but yeah, if you guys have anything to add to it, just drop it in the comment section. I'll probably go over it and reply to you guys, and we can have a conversation about it. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, drop a subscribe. Drop a subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, bro. I need to go to sleep. But yeah, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new content. But above all else, have a great day. Peace.